Put simply, Genesis is life from lifelessness.
In the beginning, God created the heavens.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
And if Genesis is indeed life from death,
in the beginning, God gave me a clean slate.
Let's dive into an interesting topic about the authorship of the Torah. That's the first 5 books of the Bible. Now, while many people have traditionally believed Moses was the author, there are other theories and perspectives that we should explore too. It's a big question, right? While both Christians and Jewish tradition often attribute these books to Moses, the Torah doesn't directly claim he wrote it all. Sure, Moses is credited with certain parts, but not everything. And when you dig into the text, you start to see hints that other folks may have contributed too. Take the account of Moses' death. He couldn't have written that part himself. Or how about mentions of kings in Genesis, which would come much later than Moses' time? There's also the reference to Rachel's burial place near Bethlehem, hinting at a different historical period. Ever notice repeated stories in the Torah? We see the appointment of judges both in Exodus and Deuteronomy, with slight differences. And Israel's time at Mount Sinai has 2 versions. One where they hang back, and another where they're more proactive. These variations suggest we might be reading different versions of the same events. Enter the documentary hypothesis, which suggests at least 5 distinct voices or sources in the Torah. Scholars label these as the Elohist, Yahwist, Deuteronomist, priestly, and a final editor who blended it all together. The Torah's style can shift noticeably, almost like changing gears mid-story. It's like spotting different dialects within the same region. Scholars believe these variations reflect multiple authors, each with their own unique style, adding their distinct flavor to the mix. Even though there's a variety of perspectives, there's solid biblical testimony suggesting Moses wrote parts of the Torah. Several passages in Exodus and Deuteronomy mention God instructing Moses to write down specific laws, covenants, and even songs. In Exodus 17:14, God says, "Write this as a memorial in the book," pointing to Moses' involvement in recording certain events. The Old Testament gives credit to Moses too. For instance, in Joshua 1, verses 7 through 8, we read, "Be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you." This book of the law Joshua speaks of is often associated with the writings of Moses. Moving to the New Testament, writers like Paul, John, and Luke refer to Moses when discussing the law. For instance, in John 1:17, it says, "For the law was given through Moses," and Romans 10:5 references Moses' writing on righteousness. Even Yeshua himself acknowledged Moses' writings, especially in John chapter 5, verses 46 and 47, where he says, "For if you believed Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me." Yeshua and the New Testament writers seem to respect Moses' role in shaping these texts, giving us reason to consider his influence seriously. Whether one leans towards the traditional view that Moses wrote the Torah or explores the documentary hypothesis, the way we view its authorship shapes our understanding of the entire Bible. While the original manuscripts are lost, we have important manuscript traditions like the Masoretic text, the Septuagint, and even fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Each gives us valuable glimpses into how these texts were preserved and valued over time. For thousands of years, the Torah has guided and inspired believers. Its themes of covenant, faith, and God's promises resonate regardless of who wrote each specific part. Whether Moses, multiple authors, or an editor weaving it all together, the Torah's message remains foundational. In the end, it's the truths, teachings, and timeless stories of the Torah that bring us closer to understanding our faith and God's heart.